Hey guys, Adam Savage here from Tested, and I'm outside of my cave. I'm actually in the basement of the Orpheum Theater in San Francisco, where Hamilton's been playing for over a year. And I'm standing next to Rick Negron, who plays King George in the show. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Nice to see you.
In character, awesome. One of the key things that happens in a show like this is wigs, and you have a very particular wig, and we're about to go through the ritual of you getting wigged up for the show.
Indeed.
All right,
Indeed.
lay on.
Let's do this.
All right, Daryl, you manage the wigs for this show, and how many wigs are you managing in the course of a night?
So we have about active, about 17, I'd say.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Moving back and forth.
A lot of hair, yeah.
And you have different wigs for every single performer, understudies and...
Yep. We have, covers all get their own set, and we have swings that just wait in the event they need to go on. So we have those all as well.
But most of the men do not wear wigs, but Rick here is an exception.
He's the exception.
Okay.
Always.
Our Thomas Jefferson currently wears like a half wig.
Oh, okay.
As Jefferson. He also plays Lafayette in the first act.
So he doesn't wear a wig for
Right,
that. Okay.
right. So-
Can you walk us through the process of
Sure.
making Rick look pretty?
I mean, it's not hard.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But, so at places, when they call the show, Rick will come to me and
I preset a microphone in my hair because I wear my own hair at the end of the show. So they take the wig off.
I see.
And then so I've got a microphone already in place for the end of the show.
right. And then we actually developed this headband in Puerto Rico. So this is actually the lace that
It's a
the
wig
wigs
lace.
are built on. Yeah.
So like the front piece of a wig,
Right.
the leading edge is often, right.
Right. So we would put this on, and you can sheet it a little further back because it's clear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then that holds his backup mic in place. And then we do a couple little pop clips. This is really...
I call it the yakety yak.
Yeah,
Because it's yak hair?
It's made of
partially,
horse,
partially.
human, and yak. Yeah. So
So
this
three
is
different species are represented by this.
Yeah. So this was built off a mold of his head in New
okay.
York. It's built, hair by hair. It's called ventilating. And
Oh,
kinda-
man.
You have to put the face on when you.
Is this where you start to put the character together?
Oh yeah. Once this is on,
just go on this.
you're
up.
in.
That netting in the front is amazing how quickly it just disappears
Yeah.
from what you see.
And then because he's under the crown most of the show, which you'll see in a minute, he's, pinned in not as extensively as, like, say, one of the dancers.
I
that
see,
are
right.
doing,
And he's hooking into that lace band that's underneath, so that keeps the wig on.
Oh, okay. It keeps it stable.
Yeah.
Because the crown, I would imagine, could move a wig around.
Indeed.
Right.
Luckily, I don't do any head rolls or any extensive choreography. Not with the crown on at least.
couple backflips, but
Now, I heard that, I was telling somebody that the first time I saw Hamilton, I found seeing all that natural hair on stage to be transformative and really beautiful. And what I was told is that even when the women have natural hair, they're wearing wigs that match that hair.
yeah.
What's the reason for that choice? That's fascinating.
That's Chuck LaPointe's choice. He just, when he meets the actor, he kind of looks at them and it's gone that direction, that he bases the wig kind of on their hair.
It's
in a-
wonderful
And
because the
it's
variety really does feel
Yeah,
very natural, and yet it's a. I
They can
really
control the
appreciate-
consistency of the look of the hair,
Yeah.
which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Don't leave it up to the actor. We'll take care of it.
Now, are you ever tempted to just walk out on the street dressed like this? And
Well, we are in the Tenderloin, so nobody will look at me
Nobody
strangely.
would notice.
It is San Francisco, luckily.
Yeah. And then my part's done.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
That was so fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we've got it down to a science. And tell them about this lovely.
This is called a Q, I guess. And for some reason, back in the day, 18 or 17,
late 1700s.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these guys would just want this long, luxurious hair, but then they'd put it up in a bag.
So this is a bag that stored your ponytail.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
I think we could go back to that. I don't want to see any dude's ponytails anymore. I'm tired of it.
Right.
And then the beautiful bow to make it all like, tied up in a bow.
As a
big
former
queen.
prop guy, I know how much abuse actors can deliver to props, but I've never worked with wigs. What kind of damage do the actors do that makes your job more difficult?
Sweat
Oh yeah,
can deteriorate.
salt and water. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
corrosive.
Just wear and tear and, makeup. They're cleaned every night. Not him so much, but, all the girls have like the oil and makeup removed with alcohol nightly. So over a year, that ends up wearing down.
How many performances is a wig able to survive before it needs rebuilding?
I'd say that about a year.
About a year?
9 months to a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
I take very good care of
He
my wig.
does. So this has gone through Puerto Rico and all of this run. So
And it'll probably
it's
last
in
another
still
year, probably.
Pretty great shape, yeah.
Yeah.
That looks fabulous.
Well, I barely break a sweat. So.
Daryl, thank you so much. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it, man.
Nice meeting you.
The thing that I thought was the most surprising about the King George is I became obsessed with the libretto before I saw the show for the first time. And when you become obsessed with the libretto, King George's 3 songs are very self-similar.
Yeah, it's the same melody.
It's the same melody. So when you see the show, I wasn't prepared for all the nuance in the performance, where because of this suit, every little thing you do is hilarious.
And it's so beautifully written. I mean, it is a challenge because it is the same melody with different words.
Right.
So every time I go
Oh,
on
right.
stage, I have to make sure, okay, you're doing
know
this
which-
song, this is what you're talking about, and don't screw up.
Right, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing I noticed is that you make the smallest gesture and it gets a huge reaction from the audience, which is also very kingly, right?
Absolutely.
That must feel awesome from a performance standpoint.
I mean, you don't expect that in theater specifically. You think, oh, well, if you're on camera, just the smallest gesture is great. And in theater, you go, oh, it's too small. It won't read to the back of the house. But literally, you're the only person on stage. You have a massive spotlight on you. You've got a pretty blingy costume on.
Yeah, no, you've blung it on.
Yeah, so just the slightest little movement is captured. It's great. It really is the role of a lifetime. I am, and it's a really, as somebody next door is working on the song right now,
yeah,
and it is a very difficult song to sing. Very high,
Right.
and just tricky song, especially the first one.
Really?
Yeah, tricky song to sing.
That's fascinating. Now, I'm curious about, because there are multiple different shows of Hamilton, how much latitude are you given to find the character yourself, and how much do you go back to the original performances and look to that for guidance?
Well, most actors, we feel the need to make it our own.
Of course.
And to forget anything we've seen before.
Right.
And especially a show, an iconic show like this, where I saw Jonathan Groff, and I've seen other kings do the role, and everybody has their own particular take. And luckily, the creative team on Hamilton, they're very, very free with allowing the actors to find their way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and they want you.
Yeah.
They support you to make it your own, and I mean, stay within the boundaries,
Right.
But then go your own way, and it's really wonderful. In many ways, when I started rehearsing, and I know this team because I did their previous show. I did In the Heights with Lin-Manuel and Thomas Kail and Alex Lackamore, the whole creative team. So I have some history with them.
Sure.
So I felt really comfortable. And when I first got into rehearsals and I started doing it, they're like, wow, Rick, you're completely different from everybody else. Most people come in with this idea of a buffoon, and they make him kind of clownish and comedic, and then we have to pare them down.
Right.
You came in with very realistic,
you're very menacing,
dangerous, and then we had to build you up, which is the opposite, which is the way I like to work anyway.
Yeah. So I know that the King George's costume, if I'm correct and I read this, that it's modeled very closely off of some real royal outfits.
Yes, our Tony Award-winning costume designer,
Paul Tazwell?
Paul Tazwell.
One of my heroes.
Yes, he even the show, the costumes are based on period costumes, but he did take some liberties.
Sure.
But with King George, literally, this is a painting of
that's
George
exactly
III,
what you wear.
and that's pretty much exactly what I wear. I mean, especially the robe.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
velvet,
The ermine.
I mean, even the gold brocade is pretty much this.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go wrong. And if you go really close on his chain, which I do have in the show, between his fingers, you'll see a horse's head right there.
Yeah.
The pendant that he wears is Saint George slaying the dragon, his patron saint, and he's on a horse. And literally, it's
the
in the
horse.
painting. There's another painting that you really clearly see the Saint George, and people ask me how heavy is the crown. Well, luckily this crown has been pared down. Apparently, the original one was around 5 or 6 pounds.
I heard that exact same fact.
And this one, they finally just did plastic and fiberglass, and this one's down to like 3.
Yeah.
And then
That's still a lot of weight on your head.
and there's a microphone in there,
Right,
so
right.
add the mic pack to it. But it is a lot of weight. But apparently, the real crown that the royalty wears is in the 10 to 15 pound range.
Oh, right, because it's real gold. And real
and it's real jewels. And so they literally, like, it'll break their neck if they do any sharp movements. I mean, yeah. The reality of that.
costume
it
designer
makes
once-
you walk a certain way.
Right.
It makes you. I can't.
And that's all on purpose.
Yes, I can't bend over on this. I tried to drop something. I tried to bend. I ripped a seam, and I was like, okay, sorry,
A
the king
costume
can't bend
designer-
over anymore.
A costume designer once told me when I made a replica of Nelson's Trafalgar uniform, and she said, Nelson's uniform would have pulled his shoulder, the jacket itself would have pulled his shoulders back, and he probably wasn't able to raise his hand above there. But that's because it pulled him into the general's bearing, the admiral's bearing. Like the clothing did that.
How amazing.
This is doing the same
The
thing.
same
for you.
thing. Same exact thing. Exactly.
And people can still buy tickets to see the show.
Oh, absolutely,
Good.
absolutely.
Good.
And we have affordable tickets. I think BroadwaySF.com.
Go see this show. Rick, thank you so much.
You're
I
so
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
My
It's
pleasure. My pleasure.
Freaking awesome.